line, Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. Oh, we have the Chicago game coming up. That's going to be exciting and interesting. I wanted to go over a couple things. Two things I want to talk about today is Allen Robinson, the wide receiver for the Bears and potential trades, and with the Giants, I should say, and how the Giants can sneak out a win against the Bears on Sunday. And I think that's going to be a more interesting topic, but let's get into the Allen Robinson topic briefly. Now, I need to stay the hell off of Instagram and Twitter because I see all these Giant fans and all these some of the writers, I shouldn't say all of them, some of them, saying that, Giants should make a trade for Allen Robinson. Just imagine we had a core of Allen Robinson, Darius Slayton, and Sterling Shepard. And, well, okay, here's some of the problems right off the bat. Allen Robinson's agent has already come out and said they are not demanding a trade yet. They're unhappy with the contract process with the Bears, but they're not demanding a trade. So that's your first issue. Second issue is the Bears are talking about a second rounder and possibly a late round pick. Now, if you are not willing to give up a second rounder and a mid-round pick for Yannick Ngakoue, we got some problems then. And third, I am a quasi-Jags fan. I've admitted that freely because I was a season ticket holder for years only because of the Super Bowl and everything else. So I kind of, if I had to pick a second team I root for, the Jags would be that second team. Now, outside of the 2015 season where Mr. Robinson had 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns, played 16 games, that was his big year. The next year, he only had 883 yards. He was then hurt in 17. He went to Chicago and only had 700 yards in 18. He finally had a good season again in 19 for 1,147 yards, 7 touchdowns. And, okay, he's 27 years old. He's not much better than Sterling Shepard. And you want to give up draft assets to bring in a guy that's not much better than Sterling Shepard? I mean, outside of his 15 season, that was his big year. And everyone's going to say, well, he didn't have a quarterback. He didn't have a quarterback in Jacksonville. He didn't have a quarterback. Well, in the, he had enough of a quarterback in Trubisky in 19 to have 1,100 yards. I mean, it's not about just having a quarterback. It's getting open and catching the ball. In his 2015 season, he only had a 53% catch ratio. And he was targeted 151 times. And same in 16. He was targeted again 151 times and only had a 48.3% catch ratio. And then you go to 19, his big season, he was targeted 154 times. He increased his catch ratio to 63.8. But still, this guy is not a number one. He's not worth a second-round pick and a late-round pick. And like I said, if Gettleman doesn't make the move for Yannick, and he would do a move like this, which I don't think the Giants would ever do. That's crazy. It's beyond crazy. It's ludicrous. It's not even worth having a conversation. So we're done talking about it. So we're going to get into the Bears game. We're going to do a breakdown of the Bears game later in the week, probably with the Brooklyn Hit Squad, only because of the fact that's the only Giant YouTuber who'll talk to me. But you know what? I don't care. But let's get into the Bears game just briefly. And I was thinking about it. How can the Giants walk away from Chicago with a win? The Bears should have a top 5 defense. They should. They did not show it against Detroit. They should have lost the game. But their unit and their pass rush should be a top 10. I mean, they got rid of Mukamura. They got rid of Clinton Dix. They got rid of Leonard Floyd. But they also brought in Robert Quinn, who had 11.5 sacks last year for the Cowboys. Their second rounder, Jalen Johnson, should be good in the secondary as a corner. And they brought in Tosh Gibson in the secondary as well. So, I mean, you have a pass rush combination of Khalil Mack and Robert Gwynn on the edges, and then you got Nix, who missed 11 games last year. He's one of the he is a disruptive interior lineman. They got a Pro Bowler in Eddie Jackson and Gibson, and they should be an upgrade over Dix. So they potentially have, and also you have Nichols and Robert Harris on the line. As well as John Jenkins. But you know what? They should have a top 5 defense again, and they should have some consideration to being their pass rush should be, listen, if you have Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn, you're going to have a good pass rush. Now, they did allow 426 yards of offense against the Bears. Against the Lions. But you know what? I'm not calling that indicative of anything because it's the first game. Just like I'm not panicking about the Giants. If I was the Bears fans and the defense, I would not panic against them as well. You know, so you kind of have to look at it that way. But the problem is they potentially have another top 10 defense, and they potentially can have a pass rush that might be on par with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, again, like I said, they did not show it against the Lions, but they could potentially have that big play capability against, like I said, the defense against the Giants offense. So how can the Giants squeak out a win? How can we go into Chicago and really just prove that we were showing improvement from our first week to our second week, and we can beat the Bears? First thing is going to be quite easily and quite simple. It's going to be Mitchell Trubisky. Mitchell Trubisky is not a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He's an okay quarterback. But he is a quarterback of opportunity. And if he gets the opportunity to look good and be good, he can flip on the switch and throw 3 touchdown passes like he did against the Detroit Lions. If you watch the Detroit Lions game, and I did because I have NFL Sunday Ticket and I watch all the games, if you watch that game, the first half you thought Foles was coming in. You were like, oh, Foles has got to be coming in now. But then what did Trubisky do? He settled down and tossed 3 touchdowns. If you give him the opportunity and you give him the chance, he can beat you. Will he do that from week to week? No. He reminds me of Rex Grossman if you're going to go back to a Bears quarterback. You know, he's got more talent than Grossman. He throws a nicer ball than Grossman. But Grossman was the same way. If you gave him the opportunity to beat you, he would beat you. So what we need to do is we need to eliminate the opportunities that we give Trubisky to make plays. And the problem is we got beat last year by Detroit, you know. So by the Bears. So it's going to be interesting. But like I said, if the defense can limit Trubisky to certain number of, certain number of opportunistic plays, and we can get some type of rush on him, I think we can finish him out. I think if we can get Dexter Lawrence to get up that middle of that line and find some outside pressure, because we really didn't find any outside pressure against Pittsburgh. We really didn't. All the pressure seemed to come up to the middle of the line, and the one sack that our buddy Leonard Williams says, that was a coverage sack. You have to give all the credit in the world to that secondary. That literally was a coverage sack. So, but we still need to find a way to generate pressure. It was interesting that Patrick, even on third down, at one point only had 1 down lineman. And he had everyone else standing up. He only had 1 interior lineman. He has linebackers and safeties and everyone else. So he's trying to create a philosophy to get to the quarterback. But like I said, if we can limit Trubisky's opportunities to make plays and let him get hot, we have a potential to really get after him and make some plays on defense, which I think we're going to have to do. Now, the problem is the Giants gave up 115 yards to Benny Shell Jr. That was supposed to be our guys. That was supposed to be it. I don't know how that happened. Our defense was that line was supposed to be the stalwart of it. And like I said, I find it funny because you got Tariq Cohen on the team, and what did he do to that game against Landon Collins a couple years back? I used to play the video. He toasted Landon Collins. So I am curious because, like I said, the Bears kind of do a running back by committee right now, and they did average 5.6 yards on 24 carries against Detroit. You got David Montgomery, you got Cohn, you got Patterson. They all look good. So we have to then, like I said, option number 2 is, we have to limit Trubisky's ability to have opportunities to make plays, and we need to stop the run. And again, those are 2 of the stupidest things you could potentially say, because if you do that in any football game, if you limit the quarterback to opportunities to make big plays and stop the run, you're probably going to win if you have a competent enough offense. So like I said, if our line can figure out how to stop the run, and like I said, I'm not as worried about Trubisky as I was Ben Roethlisberger. I'm not worried about Trubisky as much as I was Big Ben. And like I said, I was concerned when Big Ben looked rusty that he was going to knock off the rust and torch us. Big Ben could have threw for 5 touchdowns against us. He only threw for 3. So, but like I said, so I think the ability to limit Trubisky's big play capability or limit his opportunity to get hot, and we stop the run, we're good on the defensive side. We hold them to 13 points. I think we have an opportunity to win. Now on the offensive side of the ball, this is where the quandary is. I have never seen a team not be able to block for the run like this. And I've been watching the Giants in '76, and I've seen some bad Giant teams. But I have never seen a team that couldn't block straight forward. I mean, it's nothing to laugh about. And I love watching people go, wow, there were some good things and there were some bad things. There were more bad things than there were good things, if we're going to be honest. If we're going to be honest, fans, there was a lot more bad than there was good. And one of the things that was poor is that line. How you cannot block and at least get the defensive line a quarter of a yard off the line of scrimmage. I mean, they were so many times they were in the offensive backfield. Like I said, I thought at one point they knew the plays. I really did. But like I said, what we need to do is we need to focus on somehow, and I'm going to say it because I had that conversation before, run the draw. We used to say it against Kevin Gilbride. Don't run the draw. 3rd and 13, don't run the draw. They ran the draw. You know why they ran the draw all the time? A couple years for Gilbride's first couple seasons, they had a play that I almost like the old Statue of Liberty play. Then they ran the draw. I can't remember what team it was. They ran the draw against the defense, and then running back ran for like 80 yards and a touchdown or 60 yards and a touchdown. So ever since then, Gilbride was like, oh, that's pretty smart. That was like Hakeem Nicks. Hakeem Nicks' rookie season, they threw. He took one step off the line, and they threw a quick screen to him, and he took off for like 70 yards in the touchdown. For 3 years, Gilbride tried that play over and over again, and it always failed. It worked once, and that was the problem with Gilbride. Something worked once, and it was kind of a trick play. He kept going back to it. So, I mean, one day we should get into Kevin Gilbride because he gets bashed a lot. He did a lot of good for Eli, and he did a lot of bad for Eli, but we'll do a video about that one day. But like I said, what we need to do is we need to figure out how to get the Bears at least a quarter of a yard off the line of scrimmage backwards. We need to open up some holes from Saquon. And I think the key is going to be, at this point in time, I don't want Daniel Jones throwing the ball. This time I said 20 times. If Daniel Jones throws the ball 25 times or more against the Bears, we're going to lose again. I'm not going to tell you if we're going to win or lose the game. I'm not going to give you my script. But if he throws the ball more than 25 times, we are going to lose the game. What we need to do is we need to get Saquon going. We need to get a Wayne Gallman sighting. And you know what? We're going to get into this a little bit more later because I don't want to give away everything about the keys. But like I said, I think the keys on defense will say we need to limit Trubisky to giving him opportunities to make plays because he's an opportunistic quarterback when given the chance. And we need to limit the ability, and we need to just make sure that we're able to stop the run. And I think, like I said, we're holding the 13 points, we're going to win. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could subscribe, if you ring that bell, you know what that means, that'd be awesome.